Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the post route on Game On Wisconsin. My name is MJ Hurley, and we have a victorious Green Bay Packers Monday Night Football game with a 35-17 victory over the Detroit Lions. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the post route on Game On Wisconsin, sponsored by Artec Ventures. The goal at Artec Ventures is to collaborate closely with founders throughout all investment and fundraising stages, turning their visions into successful companies. Since 2020, Artec Ventures has helped turn great ideas into profitable businesses that make an impact on industries, communities, and beyond. So thank you to Artec Ventures for sponsoring the show. Well, we have a victorious Green Bay Packers. And first and foremost, I would like to say I put the Green Bay Packers on notice last week, and they stepped up. They beat the Detroit Lions 35-17 on Monday Night Football. They did not fall to Jared Goff. They did not fall to espresso-filled Dan Campbell, and they were able to do what they were supposed to do. Because coming into this game, the Packers were clear favorites. They were 11.5 betting favorites. By all means, by all statistics, by all logic, they were the football team that should come out ahead. On paper, that's what it should look like. Now, in the first half, that is not what this football team looked like. The Green Bay Packers went into the first half. They went into that locker room at halftime down 17-14. They got the running game going a little bit. They had some flashes on offense, but the defense looked absolutely atrocious. My biggest storyline in the first half, and if you were following me on Twitter, which, by the way, MJ Hurley Sports, follow me on Twitter for pure chaos during Packers games. The biggest thing that I saw during the first half was Kevin King again getting absolutely destroyed repeatedly on the defensive end. Soft coverage. He didn't know what was going on. And, I mean, he was getting torn up by Cephas, of all people, for the Detroit Lions. And any Packers fan, any true Packers fan probably loves Cephas, former Wisconsin Badger. However, that's not the guy that should be tearing you apart. So to go for a little bit of an offensive recap, Aaron Rodgers looked like the bad man that he is this evening. First and foremost, he sat in the pocket. He didn't try to do too much for the most part. There were a couple Favrean throws that still concerned me a little bit. I tweeted out at one point during the game, it sure looks like that Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers were spending a good amount of time together this offseason because, boy, there were a few throws even in this game that if it wasn't the Detroit Lions, probably would have been picked off. But Aaron Rodgers, 22 for 26, 255 yards passing, and 4 touchdown passes. Now, 3 of those touchdown passes were to not Devontae Adams, not MVS, not Allen Lazard, not even big dog Mercedes Lewis. He threw 3 of those touchdown passes to Aaron Jones. Now, obviously, Aaron Jones is a dynamic running back. He's great out of the backfield, amazing in the passing game. But if you would have told me coming into the game, hey, Rodgers is going to have 4 touchdowns, which, by the way, he has in now all 7 of the Green Bay Packers games after a loss under Matt LaFleur. If you would have told me 3 of those touchdowns would have been to Aaron Jones, not sure I would have believed you, to be perfectly honest. One of those was a little push pass. Don't really know if that really should count as a touchdown pass, but Aaron Rodgers threw the ball forward, touchdown pass. And most importantly, the Packers were doing everything on offense that I spoke about last week after the game. On the post route last week, I said the Green Bay Packers offense, they don't have the motion. They don't have all of the keys to a Matt LaFleur offense that have made them so successful. That was the biggest thing that, in my opinion, they were missing going into this football game. Number 2, Aaron Jones just overall looks incredible. He was explosive out of the backfield when he was running the ball. He was even more explosive in the passing game. Just an absolute matchup nightmare for the Detroit Lions defense. Now, once again, I would like to preface this saying that the Detroit Lions are not a good football team. They've put up now 2 of 4 impressive halves, an impressive garbage time half against the San Francisco 49ers and a decent half of football against the Green Bay Packers in the first half of this game. But really, the Detroit Lions are not in a very good football team. They looked okay tonight, but overall, this is the game that the Packers needed to do what they did, trounce the Lions. Offensively, they did that. Other than Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, 8 catches, 121 yards. He was able to do very well, even though he was pretty much double-teamed across the board. A couple times Aaron Rodgers threw into double, triple coverage just because Adams was not going to be open. That's something we've seen in the first 2 games so far. Devontae Adams is going to be covered heavily. He is the best wide receiver in the NFL. Everybody knows that now. He can split double coverage like he's dribbling a basketball getting to the basket, and it's the easiest thing he's ever done in his life. So NFL defenses are giving him so much attention because they have to. So Adams, even through the main focus of the Detroit Lions defense, gets 8 catches, 120 yards, including a 50-yard bomb down the right sideline that only Rodgers and Adams can produce. An impressive day for Adams and an impressive day for the Green Bay Packers offense. This is something I like to discuss. Cheesehead Chat says, this is the exact reason you signed Jones. He's better than he gets credit for, a true difference maker on offense. I think it's a very interesting comment because I know a lot of my Green Bay Packers friends, a lot of Green Bay Packers Twitter, especially today. I don't know, I doubt he's watching, but my friend Mason, who's a big Packers fan, has been ripping on the Packers for not re-signing Corey Linsley and re-signing Aaron Jones instead. Well, here's the exact reason. You have a Matt LaFleur offense that is designed around, number 1, the running game, number 2, motion, and number 3, play action. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but the best way to do that is have a running back that can make opposing defenses just absolutely shake in their boots. I don't think A.J. Dillon is there yet. Don't get me wrong. He's a very good running back. He's incredibly talented. But realistically, he's not the Packers' number 1 guy yet. If you were just take money out of it, take everything out of it, do you want Aaron Jones or do you want A.J. Dillon? Everyone in their right mind would say Aaron Jones. That's why the Packers re-signed him. So absolutely, Cheesehead Chat, a true difference maker. And you saw that tonight. If you take Aaron Jones out of that game, if A.J. Dillon is the running back, that is an entirely different football game. And it's not a football game that I want to watch. So that offense, that is what we want to see out of the Green Bay Packers moving forward. And something else, I pointed this out last week. I pointed it out on my live show, Third Down Thursdays. Aaron Rodgers last week, when he got just embarrassed on national television, the 325 game on Fox. You have Troy Aikman, Joe Buck, Aaron Andrews. This is the game of the week. Green Bay versus New Orleans. Aaron Rodgers got embarrassed on national television, and it did not look like he cared. This week, Aaron Rodgers looked like he cared. After the game, Aaron Rodgers said on the broadcast, it's one game, but we're 1-1 now. We're 1-0 in the division. We feel good about things, but it's still early. Now, this is interesting to me, this quote from Rodgers, because Rodgers is always this way. He's very vague. He tries to avoid getting too hyped up. He only says relax when he needs to, right? But at the end of the day, he is the one who leads that team. He is the leader of that football team. You want to know why the Green Bay Packers came out stagnant in week 1? It's because Aaron Rodgers, all of the offseason, all of the preseason, just looked like he didn't care. So my hope is that this week, this football game, showed the Green Bay Packers as a team, as an organization, as a locker room, that Aaron Rodgers still cares. Because it looks like he does still care. But that's what you need from your leader. He is the face of the franchise. He is the utmost important human being in that locker room. And so if he doesn't care, I wouldn't care either. So it's good to see a little more care on the field and off the field from Aaron Rodgers this week. It's good to see a little bit more action. At the same time, my Siri thinks I'm talking to her. No, Siri, I'm talking to some amazing Packers fans. So just a little Lions recap. Jared Goff, he looked good today. He looked all right. But if you get overmatched, if the Packers defense can figure you out, then you probably have an issue. DeAndre Swift, the Lions got way too out of what was working in the first half. They were running at will over the Green Bay Packers. TJ Hawkinson was doing whatever he wanted to the Packers linebacker group. And for some reason, Dan Campbell and the Lions just forgot what worked in the first half and absolutely abandoned it in the second half. Don't get me wrong, I'm very thankful, but there was a clear game plan in the first half that the Lions had. They clearly had their scripted plays. They worked. They abandoned them in the second half. If the Lions cannot continue to work that running game, Jared Goff is not going to outscore anyone. I think he's made that perfectly clear in LA. He's made that perfectly clear in Detroit. I did tweet around halftime that I think Jared Goff is much better suited in Detroit than Matthew Stafford was, and vice versa. Matthew Stafford is much better suited in Los Angeles than Jared Goff was. And I think the reason for that is Jared Goff needs to be, again, on another rebuilding team where he isn't the focal point. The Lions are going to be a team that is rebuilding. It's very clear. That's why Dan Campbell is there. So you put Jared Goff on a rebuilding team, get a really good offensive line around him. Now you have a very talented tight end. He could use a number one wide receiver, but he has a number one running back, number one tight end, and that offense will be able to do some things. So I was impressed with what I saw from Jared Goff. However, still obviously not the focal point of any offense of any point. This is it. Aaron Rodgers seam ball to Robert Tonyan. The comparison I saw on Twitter was basically Aaron Rodgers' career throws. Number one, obviously, we have that throw to Greg Jennings in the Super Bowl over the middle, late in the game in the fourth quarter. That was one of the most impressive throws I've ever seen in my life. But the throw to Robert Tonyan today, unless your name is Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes, that is not a throw that you should make, right? That is not a throw that should even be considered. Double coverage over the middle in the end zone. Absolutely no need to make that throw. But Rodgers says, I got Big Bob Tonyan. He doesn't drop the football. And oh my word, the Finley touchdown in 2010 against Detroit was similar. You are correct in that, Jake. So, I mean, Rodgers making his throws in the pocket. That's where all of his highlights come from. That's where the man is the most successful, and he was able to do that today. A little bit of a defensive recap. We saw a lot more Eric Stokes, which thank goodness. I still don't understand. Here is the only world. Listen up here. Here is the only world in which I am okay with Kevin King being on the field consistently for the Green Bay Packers. If Joe Barry is actually going to use Jair Alexander in the star position the way that the good Lord intended that man to be used. That is the only way in which I am actually okay with Kevin King being on the field on a consistent basis. Because what the Los Angeles Rams are doing, and I've loved what they're doing. Basically, they're letting Jalen Ramsey roam free. Hey, you got a guy you want to follow to the other side of the field instead of staying on your side. You want to go to the right side instead of just sticking on the left. Okay, you're going to roam. You can roam in motion. We basically give Jalen Ramsey, or in the Packers' case, Jair Alexander, the freedom to roam, the freedom to go make plays. He's the best playmaker the Packers have. He's the best defender. He's the best tackler. Whatever you want on defense, Jair Alexander is the best that the Packers have. And to this point, they have not let him roam free the way that he should. I will admit, during the game, I got a little bit heated on Kevin King. He did make a good play, I think, late in the third quarter. Pass breakup near the end zone. So there were some good things. The defense did much better in the second half. Devondre Campbell with an interception and 13 tackles. Chris Barnes with a big fumble recovery that really just sealed that game for the Packers. And Eric Stokes truly getting his first action. So it'll be interesting for me to see, do the Green Bay Packers move to what the Rams have been doing, where hypothetically the Packers would have King and Stokes on the outside, and then you have Jair Alexander roaming the field. That also allows, because there's been a lot of discussion, should Adrian Amos or Darnell Savage be in that star position? If you put Alexander in that star position, which basically lets him play in the slot, lets him play over the middle, really whatever he wants to do, whatever Barry wants him to do, that also allows Amos and Savage to play deep more. And that versatility really allows the Packers to get more action on defense, take some stress off of the front seven, and that allows them to be a much more dynamic offense. However, that is based off of the assumption that King and Stokes don't get burnt. And from what I've seen tonight, Stokes improved exponentially from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. Kevin King, I'm still not happy whenever he's on the field. I'm still not happy when I hear his name come up on the broadcast because I'm just assuming that it's bad. He plays 10 yards off when he's a long, lengthy, quick corner who should be playing press. I still don't understand that. I understand that Joe Barry allows his corners to kind of decide what they want to do, but I still don't understand allowing Kevin King to just play 10 yards off. Matt says, yo, I have to work tomorrow and I'm going to hate it. I do too. I have class tomorrow. I have to work tomorrow. But you know what's going to make that better is, number one, I don't have to listen to all my Bears fans friends. That's a tongue twister for you. I don't have to listen to all my friends who are Bears fans say, number one, Justin Fields is playing now, thank goodness. And number two, the Bears won and the Packers didn't. The Packers are number one in the NFC North. They are 1-1. They are better than all three teams in the NFC North. And Aaron Rodgers is a bad man who is going to take down the NFC North piece by piece. So with that, little NFC North recap for you before we get to the rest of the Packers action tonight. The poor Minnesota Vikings. Here's just a little PSA for you. If you haven't listened to the Vikings radio call of the final field goal that their kicker missed, basically the radio announcer thinks the kick goes in and then is just absolutely heartbroken. Any emotion that you can think of, that poor man goes through in the 30-second call. And if you're a Packers fan, it would absolutely make your day to listen to. So if you haven't already, listen to the heartbreaking call on Vikings radio in their 34-33 loss to the Arizona Cardinals. I actually thought the Vikings looked pretty good in that game. The issue is going to be their defense is absolutely atrocious. Kyler Murray gifted them some mistakes, but realistically, they are not a good football team. It's going to shock me if they can win any important games throughout this season. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to go well. And that's how it's going to be. And that's okay. The Minnesota Vikings were not projected to do anything crazy. But for any Vikings fans out there, your team's not good. Your offense is incredible. You know, you have an extremely talented running back, two very talented wide receivers, but your quarterback is only good because they're there. Your offensive line is awful. And shocker, drafting a wide receiver in the first round doesn't fix your defensive line, doesn't fix your aging defensive back group, and it doesn't fix your offensive line. So think about that, Packers fans. And then we have the Chicago Bears, which it pains me to say, but Justin Fields looked okay. Realistically, he looked talented. He didn't look comfortable. He didn't look poised. And he was not really in control of the Bears offense. Andy Dalton went down with a knee injury about halfway through the game against the Bengals. And the defense won that game for Justin Fields. The Chicago Bears offense did not win that football game. And that's how it's been in Chicago the last few years anyway. Their offense doesn't really win them games. Their offense keeps them alive. It's the same way that the Packers defense doesn't win them games. It's just, okay, is our defense going to screw us over today? The answer for Green Bay today was no. The answer for Chicago on Sunday was no as well. Their offense did not screw them over, thankfully, for Chicago Bears fans. But honestly, I don't see Fields as that guy. For any Bears fan calling for Fields, calling for Dalton's head, I still would take the veteran leadership of Dalton before I throw Justin Fields into the fire. So a little bit of an interesting thing here from Nicholas. All we need to do is fix the defensive line and keep developing the linebacker position. Then nobody can mess with us. Go, Pack, go. To me, I look to, and it's ironic, obviously, I roast the Bears all the time, but I look to the Bears defense. You want to know where the Bears defense is good? They have a very good front four. They have linebackers who can make plays. Roquan Smith is flying all over the field. And then before they let Kyle Fuller go, they had a shutdown corner, and they have pretty good safety group. The issue now, Eddie Jackson is not playing well. Kyle Fuller is gone. The Packers didn't even have those type of guys before, right? We have a very good safety group. Don't get me wrong. We have Jair Alexander. But yes, you are absolutely correct. Tyler Lancaster was getting thrown all over the field tonight. And I don't even know what was going on with that. However, what do I want on screen there? There we go. However, Kenny Clark, I know this doesn't show up on the stat sheet. I know this doesn't show up where it matters, but Kenny Clark absolutely destroyed the Detroit Lions front five tonight. I want to go, the second the PFF grade comes out, I want to go look at Kenny Clark's grade because he looked absolutely incredible tonight, and he was one of the most impressive people for me on that field. But what I want to look at now is, dear Lord, the upcoming schedule. I don't even know what to expect next week in San Francisco, right? We had an absolute clunker on national television week 1. On national television in week 2, the Green Bay Packers looked great. We destroyed a team that we should destroy, right? On paper, the Detroit Lions are terrible. The Packers should beat them. Then we have the 49ers, which when they're healthy, they make the Packers look like fools. They run all over Green Bay. But the issue is literally every running back that the 49ers have ever used to any extent is hurt, on IR, questionable, or all of the above right now. So looking forward to next week, I don't know what to expect whatsoever. Are the Packers going to be favorites? Probably not. Just because the 49ers have looked good. They're 2-0. George Kittle is back healthy. A lot of that defense is back healthy. I'm very scared about what Nick Bosa, Kinlaw, and that interior group are going to do to the Green Bay Packers offensive line. Because to be honest, we have not faced a really good test of pass rushers yet, and we have a very young offensive line. John Runyon, with his first start tonight, he looked really good. There were some issues. There were some communication issues between Runyon, Myers, and Newman. But when you have an entirely new and entirely untested interior offensive line, there are going to be some issues. Whenever David Bakhtiari comes back, we slide Elton Jenkins back into left tackle or left guard. You have a solidified blind side for Aaron Rodgers. Everything else will work its way out. Josh Myers was graded very well week 1. He looked very good tonight. There really haven't been any issues. He's been able to communicate with Aaron Rodgers, which honestly is the most difficult part. I trust the guy to pass block. I trust the guy to run block. You got to communicate with Aaron Rodgers. He's been able to help Rodgers. You saw Aaron multiple times tonight caught the Lions substituting, caught the Detroit Lions lacking. Josh Myers needs to be on the same page for that, and he was just as aware as Aaron Rodgers was, if not even more so. So that interior group has impressed me. But then again, they've impressed me against a depleted Saints team and then the Detroit Lions. So honestly, I am terrified for the matchup against the San Francisco 49ers. I don't think that it will go well. Like in no sense of my being, whether it be logical or irrational, do I think that the Green Bay Packers are going to do well? Because when you look at it on paper, everything the Packers have struggled with, the 49ers do really well. So going into San Francisco, Packers have not done well in San Francisco. They haven't even done well at home against the 49ers in the last decade. It is just a matchup that scares me. I'm never going to be excited about playing the 49ers. And yes, this is a very good point from Dan. We faced Cameron Jordan last week and got wrecked. The Saints have a great defensive line. They do, but at the same time, their defensive line didn't look good on Sunday. So I'm still a little bit skeptical. Don't get me wrong. The Saints arguably had the best defensive line in football last year. However, week 1, the Packers just looked like trash. So I didn't really take it fully. Cameron Jordan is great. Past that, I really think it's more a product of the entire unit as a whole. They don't have as many guys as the 49ers do where I look at you and say, Nick Bosa, Kinlaw, y'all scare me. You're going to go to work and give us hell. Because you line Bosa up against Billy Turner And that's something that scares me. That is something I am not excited about whatsoever. So realistically, I'm gonna predict that the Green Bay Packers will lose next week, and again another primetime game on Sunday Night Football. I'm predicting that the Green Bay Packers will lose that game, and it will not go well. I think it's going to be a defensive just overmatch. And then you have Kyle Shanahan, who invented the offense that Matt LaFleur is running. That's always just a weird matchup going back and forth because they have very similar playbooks, very similar play styles. Honestly, I don't even care if Kerryon Johnson is the guy with taking the majority of the carries for San Francisco. I just don't have faith in the Green Bay Packers at this point in the season defensively to keep up with San Francisco. Looking after that, Pittsburgh coming to Green Bay, I'm not worried about that. Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers have not shown me anything so far this year. They're looking like a team who's going to be in quarterback purgatory for a while. And then the same thing with Cincinnati. Don't get me wrong, that offensive group has looked very good. But when you struggle that hard against the Bears and the Vikings, I'm not really going to be concerned about you whatsoever. So that's what we're looking at moving forward for the next few weeks. Realistically, the Green Bay Packers did exactly what they were supposed to do tonight. They were incredible. It was a feel-good game that the Green Bay Packers needed. The only other thing I want to touch on real quick before I get all of the Green Bay Packers faithful to bed, because I know everybody has work tomorrow, as do I, so I don't want to ramble on too much tonight. Last thing I want to touch on is Green Bay Packers honored Ted Thompson, the late, great GM for the Green Bay Packers tonight. And it was great to see that his name will forever live on in Packers legacy in the rafters. He will be up in the facade for the rest of Lambeau Field's history. So for real, thank you to Ted. Thank you to the Thompson family that has done so much for the Green Bay Packers organization. The team that I have grown up to love, the Green Bay Packers that I have grown up watching with Aaron Rodgers, Charles Woodson, Donald Driver, the incredible Sports Illustrated 2011 cover offense that went 15-1, broke my heart in the playoffs. All of that would not have been possible without Ted Thompson. So I know anybody who knew Ted personally in the Packers organization loved him with all their heart. Every story that I've ever heard about Ted Thompson has always been positive. Even if he wasn't the biggest free agent acquisition guy, he always built incredible Green Bay Packers teams. And for that, I will always be grateful. So rest in peace, Ted Thompson. It was amazing for the first time having Green Bay Packers fans back in the house to be able to honor Ted, have his family there, and do that in the Lambeau Field home opener. So with that, next week, you will see me for the pre-snap show as well. So moving forward, other than the Christmas Day game against the Cleveland Browns, I will be here before and after every Green Bay Packers matchup. So before the game, we'll break down all the storylines, all the highlights of the Sunday already. I will get you ready for the game. Then I'll let you go to go watch what may be an atrocious Green Bay Packers game. And then after that, we'll hop on again afterwards, chop it up, cry together, laugh together, rejoice together, whatever it may be. But I appreciate everybody watching tonight. I appreciate everybody interacting. Makes this even more fun. So make sure to share the show afterwards on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you may be watching. But with that, my name is MJ Hurley. This has been the Post Route on Game On Wisconsin, sponsored by Artec Ventures. Thank you again to Artec Ventures for taking care of us so much. And with that, it has been a wonderful week. Packers win 35-17 over the Detroit Lions. Once again, thank you everybody for watching. My name is MJ Hurley, and I will see you next week.